Good morning. Welcome to the Community for Conscious Living weekly live broadcast. Today is Sunday, December 5th of 2021. The Community for Conscious Living is a community dedicated to personal transformation for universal harmony, healing the planet by making inspired changes in ourselves and in our daily lives to create a sustainable environment and a peaceful world. Today's topic, this is question number 7 from the upcoming book. The answer is love, questions to explore as we transition into an era of peace. And today's question, right on point with creating a sustainable environment and a peaceful world, can we survive climate change? Can we survive climate change? Honestly, it's up to us, right? It's up to us. It's up to how we be and what we do on a daily basis as to how we survive climate change. And I say how we survive because, as we know, as we talk about all the time, the life during this time on planet Earth that we are in these physical bodies is not the entirety of life. It is the life that we know while we're here in this limited scope of vision in this time and space realm, and in this physical material reality, viewing life through the lens of this physical material reality, through our human senses and our attachments to our human ego. But in the Sufi teachings, this is really the time when we are asleep, and the time beyond this limited scope of vision that we live in is the time when we're awake. When we are awake, and we can expand our scope of vision and awaken to a greater reality while we are confined in these physical bodies and in this time and space realm. So that is, as some say, die before you die. And we say, awaken before you awaken. Awaken before you awaken. And so that is our course of action, if you will, in creating a sustainable environment and a peaceful world, in doing the personal transformation work so that we can have universal harmony in the here and now. That is the mission of the Community for Conscious Living. That is the purpose of coming together in this meditation and healing circles. And today, I had a really beautiful morning meditation today. The best one I've had, it feels like for me anyway, in terms of how I would rank them or how they feel in my body and in my heart and in my consciousness. This was, I'd say, the best one I've had in quite some time, and I'll own that life, since living here with my dad and, caretaking and, I hate to call it caretaking, but being with him during this period of his life as he's 99 years old, he does have a number of challenges and, and being with him in those challenges and meeting those challenges on a day-to-day, sometimes, it brings on a little more constriction of the heart and a little more tightness, a little more tension. And, it adds another layer of opportunity, shall we say, in learning how to truly be in a state of connection, in a state of presence, in a state of, just remembering the truths beyond this time and space realm, if you will. And at the same time, those challenging moments can also take us to the point of knowing even more and more of that connection with the all that is beyond this time and space realm of the moment. So that is right on point with where we're going today as well. So I hope that given the process, there was a process that unfolded as I was doing my meditation this morning and sitting in with reflection around this question of can we survive climate change, and sitting with the reading that came through or the answer that came through when this book was downloaded, if you will. When this book was downloaded, there was the question came through and the response came through. And as I was sitting with all of that this morning, what unfolded was a profound process, and I'm going to share that with you this morning. And I hope that you will also have a profound, healing, deepening, transformative experience as we go through this. So let's go ahead and come into our meditation and healing circle. Let's come together, sitting in our circle, sitting side by side, shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow, knee to knee, coming together as one. And let's bring all of our focus and attention to the center of our circle, facing the center of the circle, coming together as one. And together, let's call on our source in the name of the one most merciful, ever compassionate. We call on you. We ask you to send your essence of your pure divine light. Ya Nur, pure divine light. We call on you. And just imagine this stream of pure divine light streaming into the center of our circle, filling all of our circle with this pure divine light. And filling this space, pure divine light, purifying, cleansing, cleaning, illuminating what is before us, what surrounds us, what holds us, what contains us, what we contain within ourselves. And as this light fills all of the space in front of you and streams into this space, just let it stream all around you as well and coat you in pure divine light. And as this light streams in, let it meet the pores of your skin and welcome it in through the pores of your skin and into your body to cleanse and purify your body. Cleanse and purify your skin, your pores, touching into your nervous system and traveling, this light traveling throughout your electrical circuitry in your body, through your nervous system to cleanse and purify. Cleanse and purify your entire body. And to let this light meet your senses, your sensory organs of your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, and we already said your skin, and even your taste buds and your throat and your entire chest cavity. Let this light travel into your body and cleanse and purify your body. This cleansing all of the dust and the cobwebs and all of the things that collect in our space, in our psychic space, in our emotional space, in our mental space, in our physical space, just the light toxicity of life itself, of the things that remain, the dust that remains that is not serving the highest purpose for us. Just let that be cleansed and purified. And with your exhale, just blow that out. Blow it out of your body. Blow it out of your heart. Blow it out of your lungs. Blow it out of your consciousness. And just let it be released. Released as we offer it to the center of the circle. We call on our source in the name of the one. We call on the angels. We call on the prophets, the healers, the helpers, the guides, all who are here to support us on our journey to healing, to wholeness, to truth. And we ask them to release from us anything that is not serving the highest purpose, that does not need to be hanging out with us anymore. and we release it and let it go. And a deep breath, and together we bring our hearts together in the center of our circle, and we call on our source in the name of the one most merciful, ever compassionate. We call on you. We ask you to send your vibration of your unconditional love. Just feel this vibration of pure unconditional love streaming into the center of our circle, filling all of this space with this gentle waterfall and this gentle body of water that is the unconditional love. The unconditional love. And streaming into this space, filling this space with pure unconditional love. And just let yourself be held in this love, and let yourself be loved by this love. I invite you to receive the loving that the love gives. Be the recipient of love. And I invite you to just breathe this into your body. Imagine that funnel of energy that extends from the front of your heart space, and let that be a breathing portal. You can tip that up slightly and let it receive this stream, this gentle waterfall of pure unconditional love as it streams into our circle. Let it stream into your heart center, and with your breath, let this funnel be like a breathing portal, and breathe it in. Breathe it all the way in to the core of your body. And let this gentle waterfall of unconditional love stream in through your heart center. And as you exhale, just let yourself release the tension that we hold in the heart space. If your heart feels like tight or closed, like it doesn't want to open, you can give a gentle tapping around your heart center and all along the front of your chest space. And give a gentle tapping there. And just invite that space to release and relax and to open and to receive. Receive the love that is unconditional. So much of our tension and closing of the heart is around the conditions that we as human beings put on love. But love does not care about our conditions, what state we're in, what we've done or not done, said or not said, had or not had, been or not been. Love doesn't care. Love is unconditional. The poet Rumi says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. These blocks and barriers within ourselves are our own protective mechanisms and walls that we put up to protect us from being seen when we feel like we are not worthy of love, or we've done something bad or wrong or shameful or guilt-ridden. Any of those things, those all put up walls, barriers to love. But love doesn't care what we've done. Love doesn't care about our walls. We have free will, and we have the ability, it might not always feel like it, but we have the ability to release our walls and let them soften and allow that love to penetrate through our walls and to touch the places inside that are being protected, the places that are tender inside of ourselves. And we have all kinds of reasons for putting up our walls, valid reasons for putting up our walls. And in the presence of pure divine light and unconditional love, the walls, we have the ability to invite these vibrations, if you will. The vibration of pure divine light, the vibration of unconditional love, to resonate through the walls, to go around the walls, to come in behind the walls and just be with the tender places in our hearts. So if you feel a wall that doesn't want to let go right now, that's okay. You can invite that pure divine light and unconditional love to come to be with the tender places in your heart, to come inside your walls and resonate and touch into the depth of your heart, the place of tenderness that truly needs and yearns for that unconditional love. Allow that love to come in and do what love does. Bring its loving presence and touch into your place of need. And need is not a bad four-letter word. Need is a basic human quality. We have needs and we are meant to have needs, and love is one of the highest needs that we have. As John Lennon said, all we need is love. There's a lot of truth in that. The Beatles, all we need is love. There's a lot of truth in that. Let your heart, allow your heart to receive the love. And if your heart doesn't know how to receive the love, just call to your source and call on the angels, call on whatever you can believe in sincerely, and ask for their help. And even if you don't believe, take a leap of faith and call out and even, just say, look, I want to believe, I want some help, I want to feel, I want to know the love in my heart. I need the love. If you are there, if you can help me, please help me. And just take a deep breath into your heart. And let's call on our source again in the name of the one most merciful, ever compassionate. We call on you. We ask you to send your vibration of eternal compassion, the pure eternal compassion that streams in. Compassion more than streams in. It streams in and it fully contains our entire space. It contains each of us individually. It contains our entire circle. It contains our entire existence, the entire time and space realm, the entire material existence, the entire emanation of creation that extends from the God consciousness, the one and only one, from the singular to the multiple. All of it is contained within an ocean of compassion. So feel this ocean of compassion that surrounds you, and allow yourself to rest into this ocean of compassion. Sometimes I feel like we're swimming in an ocean and trying not to get wet. So I invite you, as you swim through this ocean of compassion, to allow yourself to get wet. Become saturated with compassion. Let the compassion just soak into your body, like as if your body is a dry sponge. Let it completely absorb the waters of compassion, the waters of love, and let that completely absorb into your body. And I invite you, as you imagine this absorbing into your body, as you inhale, draw all of this into your core. And as you exhale, just let your conscious body drop down and land into your pelvic bowl, into your hips, and feel your presence in your body. Feel your presence in your chair, on your floor, in your bed, whatever you happen to be resting into. And inhale, draw your energy and draw this light and this love and this compassion into your core. And by core, I mean that vertical core, that core of energy that life force that runs through the top of your head and travels along the front of your spine, down the center channel of your body when you're standing upright or sitting upright, and all the way through and through your base and into the earth, and bring all of your energy into the core of your body. And as you exhale, just let your energy drop down and land into your hips and to lean back toward your spine. So you're landed in your hips, leaning back toward your spine, breathing in this vibration of pure divine light and unconditional love and eternal compassion, breathing it in through your heart center and letting it just fall on you like a gentle waterfall as you absorb it into every pore of every fiber of your being, becoming the vibration, resonating with the frequencies of pure divine light, unconditional love, and eternal compassion. Breathe that in, receive it into your core, and exhale, drop down into your body and let it land. Let it land. And our question for today, can we survive climate change? Well, let me go ahead and read the answer that came as this book came through. It's a short one. Can we survive climate change? We must act quickly and make choices. They may seem radical, but we must choose between life for all or temporary conveniences and pleasure at the expense of the greater good. What is truly essential? What do you really need for your survival? What is important on a journey to know love? Is it the big house, the luxury car, the cruise vacation, the steak and seafood dinners, the designer clothes? All have an impact on the planet. The fast foods, the animal products, the one-time use disposables. What do you really need? What can you cut back or eliminate? Do that now. And then look again. What can you cut back or eliminate? Do that again. Every month, evaluate and then re-evaluate. Cut out animal products immediately. You can live without them, and there is no space for the relationship humans have had with animals to continue in the new era. This is an era of attunement to subtle realms, aligned with love, subsisting in compassion and respect for all of creation. The horrid conditions cannot continue. Disregard for human life, animal life, and for the health of the planet has no level of sustainability in an era of pure love. Out of love for our planet, our Mother Earth that sustains us, we must each evaluate and let go of attachments, release what you can, simplify now. Your life depends on it, and the continuation of human and animal existence also depend on it. Abandoning this planet for another is not a viable option. Do what you can, everything you can, to make life a workable, viable option right here and now. Choose love. Choose it firmly, and do not let go. Love is the answer in everything you do and in every choice you make. Take nothing for granted. The answer is love. You will adjust. You must adjust. You will adjust. You must adjust. We can survive. And this is an incredible opportunity to truly decide and explore and decide what is necessary in this life on this journey to know love. Take a minute and breathe that in. And I also want to breathe in. Remember, we are breathing in unconditional love and eternal compassion, along with the divine light of illumination. So as the light illuminates for you, those places inside where we can simplify, where we can reduce, where we can eliminate our need for certain material goods, I want to invite you to be held in the compassion and the unconditional love, and hold this for yourself. Hold it firmly. Hold the unconditional love firmly for yourself. Hold the eternal compassion firmly for yourself. Hold the self-acceptance. And release any judgments. Or this is not about guilt or shame. It is about illuminating and saying yes to the changes. And remember, change is a process. There are some things where we can drive a stake in the ground and say, no more. Now is the time. I'm letting this go once and for all and for good. If you can do that, do that. But know yourself. If you can't do that, and that would only cause some, major inner rebellion that would boomerang back or rubber band back, then know yourself and give yourself lots of love and mercy. Make the changes that you can, and keep your heart, God willing, in that sincere love and acceptance, and in the bowing, and align with the intention of living in harmony with the planet and all of life that exists on this living, breathing planet. Human beings are the only ones that were given free will. And in our gift of free will, we have to forget our connection with the all that is, and forget how to live in harmony with nature. That's a part of our process. And also a part of our process is remembering. So once we've forgotten and we've made a lot of missteps, I'm going to call them missteps. We've stepped off the pathway and out of alignment with nature. The next step in the process is to awaken, have these things illuminated for us or within us, and then to correct our steps and head back toward the path of living in harmony. And on a global scale, the entirety of our planet is being called to do this. We're being called to make the steps back, and to make them back now. So sit with that, calling in that light. Let that light come in and illuminate for you. What are the places inside yourself where you feel inspired to make change? The greatest changes we can make come from the inspiration. And inspiration is that breath of source that breathes us, breathing through us, and fanning that flame inside the heart that sparks that inspiration that guides us to our next steps. So what is that inspiration for you? Where do you feel inspired? And that's in our community for conscious living, making inspired changes within ourselves and within our daily habits and our daily practices, our daily lives that create a sustainable environment and a peaceful world. And I'll give you a minute just to breathe into that and to feel into that. Breathe into that and feel into what moves in your heart, what tugs on you, what pulls on you. One of the biggest things within ourselves that keeps us from being able to live in harmony with the planet is that need to belong to our tribe, to fit in with the culture, to be loved by the people that we most want to be loved by. You know, and sometimes it is so very subtle. But we all have those places inside of us that say, but what if I make this change? This could really cut me off from my tribe. This could really cut me off from the things that I depend on as a part of my survival and the people that I want so badly to love me. And, you know, this gives us a beautiful opportunity for releasing those attachments and healing those wounds where we have felt that we were not included, that we didn't belong, that we were not loved. You know, as we are growing up with these people that, you know, typically our family, as we are growing up with our family, the people we want to love us more than anything, this is where a lot of those core wounds happen, right? Because, you know, we come from unconditional love, and we know inside of ourselves what unconditional love is. But as we come here and we separate from that, our consciousness separates from that knowing of unconditional love, there's still a core part of us that expects it. And we're looking to those people that are closest to us to be that source of unconditional love, because we've forgotten the true source, or we are forgetting the true source. As we are growing up in those developmental years, we're forgetting the true source. We're forgetting how to have unconditional love for ourselves, and we begin to look for it outside of ourselves, from our families, from our parents, from our siblings, and we want so badly to be included and to be loved and to belong. And we have a knowing, because those who are older than us have separated before we did. And they're gone farther and farther in their process of separation. Their missteps have taken them farther and farther off the path of harmony. And we want their love and inclusion so badly that we begin to compromise our own integrity. We begin to compromise our own beliefs, and we're willing to go along to be accepted. You know, and on just a purely emotional level, we're willing to be teased. We're willing to take on those cutesy little sarcastic sayings and comments, right? We're willing to go along with the jokes at our own expense. We're willing to, you know, whatever it takes, just to be included and to get along and to be a part of the tribe, which is directly tied to survival. It's directly tied to survival on this planet. So we're willing to do that. And yet when we begin to awaken and have these places inside of ourselves illuminated, we recognize that, wait a minute. This is a lot of times what's at the source of our rote patterns and our addictive behaviors, where we don't even recognize where we may be addicted to, certain foods or shopping or unhealthy relationships. There is, in the While We Were Silent project, one of the interviews I did was with Lillian Warmer. And I'll share a little bit about her story. It's in that interview and in that book also. So this is her story, and it's a really powerful story. It's been coming up for me a lot lately. She's from, I believe, from Vietnam. And she and her family were refugees fleeing Vietnam when she was 12 years old. And they fled on a boat. And while they were out to sea, making their way away, their boat was hijacked by pirates. And the women and children were raped by the pirates, and she was one of those. And her story, her course of dealing with this afterwards just perpetuated the shame. There's a visceral shame that comes from just the pure violation. There is trauma that comes from the pure violation. And then beyond that, there is the cultural shaming that sits on top of that. In her case, in her faith, in her religion, there was a lot about, this is karma. You must have done something, or your father did something, and you're repaying that karma. And then there was a whole stigma put on someone who was no longer a virgin and hadn't been married, and that carried her in her culture. And she carried an incredible amount of unworthiness and shame. And it really ended up defining the relationship she drew to herself. She ended up in the United States and grew up in the United States, and she drew to herself relationships that continued to foster those beliefs of unworthiness and of being damaged and of being shamed. And she ended up in abusive relationships, very unhealthy relationships. And until she recognized within herself what she was holding and what she was carrying and how she believed that she had to just carry this and hold this. And this was a part of being accepted in her tribe and accepted in her community. These beliefs that she held. And she was staying in that position and playing that role and allowing herself to be treated as one who was damaged, as one who was shameful, as one who was dirty, as one who had drawn some bad karma. She allowed herself to stay in that role until she found that was given that illumination. That the truth inside of her is pure light, just as the truth inside of you is pure light. And you don't, in a sense, we teach, and this is one of the really valuable things that she said, We teach people how to treat us by the ways we allow ourselves to be treated and how we show up. And a lot of times we're afraid to make those changes because we're afraid to lose the people that we've allowed to treat us in the ways we've become accustomed to being treated. And family is often at the core of that. Just the very subtle, the ones that are more blatant, maybe easier to see, maybe harder to heal, but they're easier to see when we get into those core places that are very subtle. Like the taking for granted, taking advantage, the sarcasm and the teasing. All of those lead into those places inside of ourselves where we know better about who we are. Where that part of us has just been going along because it helps us to feel included and to feel loved. But underneath that place that wanted so badly to feel included and to feel love is the place that truly knows what that love is and knows who you are. So I invite you in this moment, if you sense inside of yourself any of those places that feels like you need to have something more or something else or to go along with or to tolerate or put up with in order to fit in or to be loved or to be included or to fill a void, I invite you to release those places now, and let's call on Source and just ask for the help to release that from you, to take that out of your heart, to take that out of your physical body, your energy body, your mental body, your emotional body, and your soul, and to cleanse it and purify it and release it. Release it, cleanse it, purify it. Take a deep breath in, inhaling in that light and love and compassion. And as you exhale, just let that all go and let that light and love and compassion come into those places inside yourself that know what love is and know that you are that love, that you are worthy of that love. You are enough to receive that love. You have enough, you be enough, you do enough, you are enough. You are completely worthy of that love. Let that love and that light and that compassion come in and heal those places inside yourself. Receive, 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 and let it build you. Let it fill you. Let it build you. Let it bring you into fullness within yourself. And I promised we were going to read from we were going to call on the divine names. And there's 3 divine names that are very fitting for this, actually, that we're going to call on. The first 2 are a pair of divine names. And the first one is Dar, D as in Deborah, D-A-R, Adar. So we'll call Yah means O. So like calling on the, let me tell you what that means. Dar is the one, it's the one who allows harm, the creator of harm, and the one who gives disadvantage, right? It's the one who allows the harm. And the pair of that one, is Anafia, and it's N as in Nancy, A, F as in Frank, I, Nafia, and it's got that glottal stop at the end, Nafia. And That is the one who creates that which is useful and good, the one who grants advantage. So it's Adar Anafia, or we can say Ya, which means O instead of the. Yadar Yanafia. And this is, as we do the inner work, it's very helpful for the inner work as well as looking at the climate change and the harm that has come to the planet and making the, really finding what is God's intention. How do we find unity in this level of duality? So, I'll just read this. When we remember the divine by repeating the two names Adar and Anafia, our attachment to people and our expectations from them slowly dissolve, and our turning to the one, our source, Allah, intensifies. Unity is strongly highlighted by these two names. Our source is the one who creates harm, whether to purify our hearts and prepare it for higher stages, or as a consequence of our deeds. Thus, what damages on the one hand can indeed be useful on the other. The divine name Anafia comes from the root which contains the following meanings: to be useful, to be beneficial, to be advantageous, to be of use, to be of help, to be of avail, to utilize, to turn to use, to turn to advantage, to turn to good account, serviceable, wholesome, salutary, gain, good, and welfare. We have been cutting ourselves off from the force of darkness for too long, from that source of energy that lies buried in the dark, in the background, in what has been forgotten. Darkness is real and dangerous, but it possesses a force and energy that we need. Like chaos, darkness carries the energy of creation, the energy of that which is undefined, undifferentiated, not yet limited by form. A treasure lies in what we have been ignoring. Golden honey flows through the veins of the earth, along the streams, at the bottom of the ocean. In those dark, forbidden places where the wind is wild and restless, we can discover a passion and a magic that belongs to us. When we touch those places for God's sake, for His sake, without worrying about ourselves, without wanting to learn or grow, but only to live more fully, something can finally happen, can finally be released. Complete, perfect surrender to God enables us to touch the darkness of the world for God's sake. Surrender is the servant's only true protection and place of real security. If we enter darkness without surrender, it will seize us, engulf us, and then we will be lost without further use. In our source lies the protection, and through Him comes the power. The divine name Anafia is used for healing. Evil is not the opposite of God. Evil is resistance to God. Everything is made of the same energy. Divine energy is dark and light, male and female. It contains both white light and the black void. Although we use the concept of duality, the world is only made of apparent opposites. They complete one another and are not really contraries. Duality is only used in this world to lead us to unity. Everything is interwoven and in inseparable patterns. We are not separate parts of a whole. We are the whole. Become acquainted with the positive sides of your fellow human beings because that is love. Meditation and prayer help us transcend the linear mind, and they enable us to understand the reality that all things are intertwined. See where you stand and where you are heading. The only thing that matters is what you have attained, since your existence requires you to be merciful, generous, humble, and above all grateful. The deeds in this life shape the body for the soul in the next. So let's sit with and really let's call on the vibrations of Dar, Ya Dar, and Ya Nafia. And Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. The one who allows the harm and the one who brings the advantage. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. And you can sit with this inside yourself, or as you contemplate your relationship to the life on the earth and the climate change. It doesn't matter to me where you feel drawn to sit with this, but because the inner is always reflected on the outer, and the outer is a reflection of the inner, as we know. So doing the inner work helps on the outer. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. Let those vibrations ripple through your fluid existence. Your fluid existence. Your body is mostly water. It's mostly fluid. Let those vibrations ripple through your fluid systems. The vibrations of Dar and Nafia. Speak those sound codes, those sound code patterns into your body, and invite those places inside yourself that make separation. Allow them to come into right relationship and harmony, so that from the harm that you have experienced or that you witness, you can come to the place of goodness and advantage. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia, thus bringing the separateness into the whole, bringing the opposites into the unity. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. Ya Dar, Ya Nafia. That reading that I just did was from Fauzia's book, The 99 Healing Names of the One Love, Divine Names, 99 Healing Names of the One Love. And I want to read a Rumi quote from the section on Nafia from Neil Douglas Klotz's Sufi Book of Life. Rumi says, "The problem becomes that the more you cultivate the interest of rulers, the more your real interest escapes you." This is so fitting of whether you're thinking of just being within your family or of living on this planet in terms of our global life and life forces on this planet. The problem becomes that the more you cultivate the interest of rulers, the more your real interest escapes you. The further you go in that direction, the more the beloved, and he writes with a capital B as in your source, turns her back on you. And when he says it, what I feel is that it's more of the more we turn our back and close with our free will, right? We have free will. We have that ability to turn toward the beloved, turn away from the beloved. I believe it is honestly the more that we turn away from the beloved, because the beloved is in everything and everywhere, and we have the ability to be present with the beloved, our source, in every moment, with every breath and in everything. So it's a matter of whether we turn away, whether we close our hearts, whether we shut ourselves off, or whether we turn toward and open our hearts and receive and flow in harmony with. So Adar Anur, Adar Anur. It is opening ourselves to this, that unity, bringing things into right relationship. This also is a source of forgiveness, because so often when we hold things in separation within ourselves, we hold the bad and the good in separation. It keeps us in separation from our source and from the divinity, the divine breath that breathes us. That is our own life force, our own existence. Adar Anafia. It's like it forgives that separation and returns. Forgiveness is about releasing our attachment to the separation and returning ourselves back to right rhythm and into harmony and wholeness. That is what forgiveness is. That is what forgiveness does within our bodies and within our hearts and within our spirits. So Adar Anafia. Yadar Yanafia. Yadar Yanafia. Let that fall into right relationship within you. Let it illuminate for you the truth of the bigger picture of things. Let it release you from the attachments of what is bad and wrong, what is good and right, our attachments that say that are put our conditions on love. This means no love, this means love, right? Let everything come into right relationship, into rhythm and harmony and flow, and into openness to the unconditional love. Yadar Yanafia. Yadar Yanafia. Yadar Yanafia. Yadar Yanafia. And I want to read from one more of the divine names, Al-Warith. And this is the soul heir, the inheritor. This is the divine name that indicates that Allah, the One, our source, inherits everything from heaven and earth, and that everything comes from Him and returns to Him. Repeating this name helps us become free from the dominance of our impulses and pierce the superficiality of perception. So to free us from the dominance of our impulses and pierce the superficiality of perception. This divine name gives us the freedom to recognize that of all the beauty, all the riches that we are given to live and experience, nothing truly belongs to us. Everything is lent for a period of time before flowing on again. Know that every divine name carries a light, a secret, and a shadow. The light of each name shines in the heart of those who go deeply into that name and invoke Allah, the one, our source, God, through it, time and time again. So let's call on the divine name of Al-Warith, Al-Warith, and that's W-A-R-I-T-H, Warith, Al-Warith. Al-Warith, the inheritor, is the one to whom all possessions go once their owners are gone. And that is Allah, the one, because He is the one who will be when the creation is gone. Everything returns to Him. Al-Warith, Al-Warith. Al-Warith unites inner and outer knowledge. It helps us to let go, to overcome our greed, and concentrate our strength on the essential championing, let me say that word again, championing our natural right to nurture our soul. So it helps us to let go of the material in our feelings of need for the material or that need for excess, and concentrate our strength on the essential, championing our natural right to nurture our soul. So call on Adar and Anafia to bring things into right relationship and to understand the whole, the wholeness, the unity, the purpose of the duality, if you will, in order to know the unity. And Al-Warith to help us to let go of that which is of the material that is not the highest nurturing for our soul, and allow it to be returned to the soul inheritor as all things go back to the one. All things return to the one. And let this bring you into right relationship with what truly nourishes your soul on the deepest level. Al-Warith. Al-Warith. I'm recognizing that we're going over quite a bit today, and I apologize for that, and I thank you for staying with me on this. Adar, Anafia, Al-Warith. Adar, Anafia, Al-Warith. And another quote that is a Rumi quote that is in the Neil Douglas Klotz book. This is under Al-Warith. It says, reason is all fine and good until it shows you the door of the beloved, capital B, beloved. At that point, divorce reason, which will steal from you like a bandit. Divorce reason and be with your beloved. So again, breathe in that light, that love, and that compassion. Breathe in that light, that love, and compassion, and let it fill those places inside of you that have been in separation. Let it bring them back together as one. And real quick before we close, let's just take that moment and extend that prayer to the entirety of our planet, of our collective consciousness, of all of the life force that exists and is impacted by the increasing forces of, let me scratch the word increasing, by the forces of darkness on the planet. because I do believe sincerely that so much is being illuminated, so much is being reset, so much work is happening right now that is helping us to smooth the transition into the era of peace, which we are truly transitioning into, which we are truly moving into. We are truly moving into the era of peace. And there is so much work that's being done on our planet right now. And if we really look to that and focus on that right now, we can see how much is being done that will smooth our transition into living in this era of peace. It might look like some of the things are crumbling, but there is a lot that is being done to pave the pathway for a smooth transition. And there's a lot that we've been dependent on that we have to release our attachment to, because that will have to shift its form so that we have sustainability when we move in. It's kind of, when I say sustainability, so that we can move into that era of peace, sustainability when we live in that era of peace. The thing is, the vibrations are shifting, things are changing. We are moving into that era of peace. And we can prepare ourselves now to live in peace and to be prepared for it and ready for it, so the transition is smooth. But it is what is. In the era of peace, there are certain things that will be very different. And a lot of things as we have known them in our past up until now cannot exist in that vibration of harmony with all that is, just by nature, by the nature of physics. Okay, so a deep breath with that. All right, I'm going to close the recording and open for the Q&A. If you're listening to the recording, you're welcome to join us live on Sundays at 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. U.S. Pacific Time. Find the information for joining us at communityforconsciousliving.com, communityforconsciousliving.com. When you go there, you can sign up to receive reminders of these calls as well as the replays. When you sign up, you'll receive your copy of the 10 spiritual principles of our human existence. It's a one sheet that tells you it's a reminder. It's a one sheet so that you can post it up to be a reminder for you of who you are, why you're here, what this world is about, what this life is about. And it comes with a 15-minute guided meditation that you can download and use as a part of your daily practice to help you align with the divine light, the unconditional love, the eternal compassion that is the truth of the core of your existence, the breath of spirit that breathes life force into you, gives you life and consciousness. This will help you to reconnect with that truth inside yourself, the one that knows the right relationship and the harmony and flow with all of nature, and can help us to live in the era of peace now. All right. And with that, I close the recording, turn off the recording, and open for the Q&A. Thank you very much.